something from God, and you want me to shut my mouth? Are you crazy? He said, I'll yell the more. I'm going to let you know God has not forgotten me. Even though you forget me and you don't think about me, you look at me crazy, but child, you didn't die for me. Now I know folk are happy, or they are in a habit of saying salvation is free. Where did you read that in your Bible? He said you were bought with a price. You just didn't pay for it. Salvation is not free. It cost Jesus his life. Yes, it did. You were bought with a price. He said you no longer belong to yourself. And because God bought you, he remembered you. He said before the foundation of the world, I slain the lamb. I know you messed up, but I remembered you. I called you. Good God from Zion. He said in your mother's womb, when you didn't have a name, you didn't have a facial structure, I called you from birth. I know you've been through some things. Jeremiah, I know you're tired of preaching. I know you set your Bible. I know the folk frustrate you, but I have not forgotten you. I put fire down in your soul. Can I preach like I'm at home now? Good God from Zion. He said the Pharisees, the church folk, the folk that like praises of men more than the praises of God, the scribes, they complaining because Jesus decided to pick me up and turn me around. They mad because Jesus decided to make me a part of the family. They mad because Jesus now gave me a promise and a hope. See, some folk like to see him down in the valley. Folk love to see when you don't have something, but when God start blessing, when God start moving, that's when the lips go to rolling. That's when their mind go to thinking. Can you imagine these folk mad at Jesus because Jesus decided to remember those that were lost. He decided to remember those that were put out, those that were shut up, those that didn't have nothing. Somebody ought to tell God, thank you for remembering me. You ain't always been where you are. You ought to give God glory. Let me tell you something. I got a problem with folk that want me to be where they are and they just got there themselves. Y'all ain't talking to me. God ain't forgotten me. I may not have the house that I want, but I'm still in the mind of God. I may not have the job I want, but I'm still in the mind of God. God has never ever forgotten me. Folk have forgotten my name. They overlooked me on the program. They said I was never gonna make it. Can I bring it home, y'all? Right here in this type of setting here. I'm talking about Bethlehem Temple as a heritage. Right here I was born and raised right here in this church. And when God called me to preach, some folk came to me and said, you ain't no preacher. You ain't nothing. But God didn't forget me. I'm so glad I didn't listen to folk because you didn't call me. You didn't make me. Yeah. I don't worry about what folk trying to make me because you can't make me nothing you didn't call me to. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Folk thought I was playing. They thought I wasn't paying attention. But every now and then I was sitting in Ella Smith's Bible class. Yeah, they thought I was up to no good. But if Mother Wilson was here, she'd tell you every other week I was in the tearing room calling on God, praising God. But folk forgot me. They didn't want me to preach. They didn't want me to sing. But child, I'm so glad I ain't in your house. This is the house of God, and you can't stop God. I recall one time right downtown at Bethlehem when Jackie Rump was there. Y'all ain't going with me. I go by myself. Yeah, they had the choir. They didn't want me to sing. They tried to set me up. I went in the back of the alley, start singing. I feel like going on. Jackie Rum was up in the room. Good God from Zion. She didn't know where it was